guys, welcome back into the NFL betting show, week 11. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it, guys. Mike Randall, Chris Meaney, Abby Labar here with you guys. Okay, let's talk last week 10 first. First of all, Texans, are they now like playoff contenders? Who would have thought, right? And then the Bills, who would have thought that they would be so average at this point in the season? So lots of surprises continue, but excited for some of these teams that we didn't expect to play really well, and then now they are like at this point in the year.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. 2 for 2 week for me on the NFL moneyline underdog piece. The first one, Abby, the Texans at the Bengals. Spoiler alert, we'll get back to them in a minute. We're not buying the Bengals this year. And of course, guys, I have to brag. The second one, Josh Dobbs taking care of the good old Saints as a
he's wearing
underdog.
This shirt.
2 for 2. I love it. Who knew going to beat them Saints? Everybody. Exactly.
Who knew? Closet Saints fan, Mike Randall. He's got the T-shirt. He has a T-shirt.
He broke it all out. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Man. I was right there with you, Mike, on not the Saints or the Vikings, rather. To be fair, it wasn't me pumping the Saints last week, our boy Sam Choudhury, but he was spot on about the Niners, and we talked about overreaction over the past couple of weeks with San Fran and getting -3. It's always easy to look back on these things now, Abby, but thinking like that game wasn't even close to a football game. The Niners looked like the old Niners, right? The Super Bowl contenders. Had the bye at the right time, but we were on the Broncos here to cover. We will talk about the Bills in a little bit. They're really struggling to play good football. Of course, they made the offensive coordinator change there, and Joe Brady's going to take over with Dorsey gone. But we were on the Lions. Had to sweat that one out. The -2.5. That was a great game between them and the Chargers. And I forget the other one that we were. Oh yeah, we did not get the under between the Ravens and the Browns. That was not even close. It was an awful call by me. Not even close at all. And I forget what the other one was, but it was a pretty good week. It was a pretty good week, and we're into crunch time here now in week 11 already, like you said. Wild.
All right, let's see if we can keep it going. Then love the money line dogs for you, Randall. That's always fun because I know I like to choose some of those as well. But hot one in the AFC North, we've got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, guys, going head to head. As we take a look at the spread overall, we're going to dive into a few of these, but let's start there, Randall. What do we think? The models currently show the total yardage for Burrow, both passing and rushing, at 240, Lamar Jackson at 285. So what are our thoughts on this?
I say it over and over again. Tether the props to how you think the game is going to go. I like the Ravens in this spot against Joe Burrow and a limited passing attack that won't have T. Higgins. So the two plays I'm looking at is the one you have up there. Ravens -3.5 against the Bengals. Bengals have struggled to stop the run or the pass this year. They've been particularly poor against the pass. Their last 4 games, shout out to Frank Brank here at FTN, put this on X. Bengals have allowed 1,302 passing yards the last 4 games, 323, 365, 258, 356 hike. That's a disaster here against Zay Flowers in the passing attack that is starting to get going. You saw Eldo Beckham Jr. go down the field as well. And then you have a defense here in the Bengals that are just not great against the run. 29th in DVOA, Abby, against the run here. Who are they going against? The team with the most rushing yards per game in the Ravens, 154. I know the Ravens blew it, but they still have a good statistical defense. I like the Ravens in this spot, laying the points. I'm also going under. I put my Thursday night prop in already here at FTN. Jamar Chase under 83.5 yards. He destroyed them in his first 2 matchups with them, 213 yards. Remember his first game against the Ravens, then 130, but they've held him to 56.5 receiving yards each of the last 3 games. I think they lock him down. It's a sloppy Thursday game. Night primetime games have been hitting the unders. You guys know that. Ravens going to win. They're going to cover. We're going to limit Chase, and we're going to get off to a great start in week 11.
I love it. Lamar Jackson is 7-1 as a starter versus the Bengals. So that's a nice little fun stat there. Hey, Joe Burrow, though, the touchdown prop on our FTN bet site is showing that the under is currently the best way to go. There's a little bit of an edge on it, and there's plus money on the line. So I think it's 1.5 right now. So you might want to grab that one. I think that's a pretty good one. If, again, like we're talking, if we're going to swing the way of what we think this game's going to go. So, Meaney, any thoughts on this one? It's a big game.
Yeah, it is a big game. I think it's a must-win situation for Cincinnati after losing that game last week. And I'm with Mike. I mean, the only time I've really talked up the Bengals is just, I guess we did talk them up a little bit with San Fran, but that was just more on the Niners and the injuries that they had at the moment, and then not believing in the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, this is a team that needs T. Higgins. They need somebody else in this matchup, a divisional matchup. And the Ravens just got smacked in the mouth. And just hearing Lamar Jackson talk yesterday at the podium in the press conference about how fired up this team is after that loss. They kind of like were feeling themselves a little bit in the second half of that game against the Browns, and a couple turnovers. All of a sudden they lose that game. I had the stat too with Lamar against the Bengals was something I was going to bring up. And Cincinnati has no run game at the moment. They can't. It's not even at the moment. You go back to last year. I mean, Joe Mixon is not efficient behind this offensive line, and no T. Higgins, looking for somebody else to step up. At number 2, seen some nice moments from Tyler Boyd last week, but this is a much better defense, and I would lean with both picks that Mike gave. I think that Baltimore wins this game, but yeah, this should be fun. It should be really good. Cincinnati needs the win. I would say, Mike, if they don't win this game, it's all over for them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Deshaun Watson out now with Cleveland, but the AFC North was flirting, guys, with having all 4 teams, first time that would ever happen in NFL history, into the playoff. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. You have Tomlin in a classic Tomlin spot as an underdog now against the Browns, who are going to have, it looks like Dorian Thompson-Robinson was just announced recently as going to be the starter. So who knows what's going to happen? That could totally flip-flop. Ravens, that was a bad loss to the Browns because they would have had a 2-game lead in the division.
I'll tell you what, much better Thursday night game than what we were given last week. Seriously, what in the world?
I wanted to bring this up quickly, Abby, just one more time because Mike brought it up as well, and I wonder where this line moves to. But I made a couple bets early, maybe Tuesday morning, late Monday night, and one was Pittsburgh at +4. And now I'm seeing, as you see there, +4. I was already on it anyways, assuming that maybe Deshaun Watson would play 50-50. It didn't really matter to me if he was going to suit up or not. But now moving away from Deshaun Watson, I think that the Steelers can go into Cleveland and win this football game. I do believe it's going to be tight, but now I'm seeing, as of recording here on a Wednesday, 1.5, 1 in some spots here for the Steelers. So happy to be on the +4, but Mike, I don't know what your thoughts are on a potential upset here, because I really like where the Steelers have been on both sides of the football over the past couple weeks. They squeaked one out against the Packers. That was the one that we had last week, Abby, was Pittsburgh against Green Bay. What do you think about the potential of them going in and beating Cleveland? Because we know the Browns defense they're going to keep them in the football game the entire way.
Yeah, I love it. I love Pittsburgh this week. It's a classic Tomlin spot, and a couple changes they've made that I think are critical. Number one, the big one everyone's going to talk about is Jaylen Warren is now the starting running back. Jeff talked about it on his podcast today. I think it's a big deal, guys, because Najee Harris was starting running back. Everybody loved Jaylen Warren. I think Najee Harris is going to be relevant down the stretch. I think he's going to play well. I don't think moving Warren is a big deal. I think they have 2 solid running backs. Played them both in DFS last week. Actually worked out very well. But the biggest addition that I think is critical is Deontay Johnson coming back, because Kenny Pickett is the type of quarterback that needs to see you open. He is not going to throw into tight windows, which is why George Pickens is getting frustrated, because George Pickens is a Des Bryant, I'm going to go and get it, but you have to have the guts to let the ball go when you see him covered. Deontay Johnson gets open more. He's shifty. He's able to create separation. That's why he's getting passes. And Pat Freiermuth is designated for return as well. And on the defensive side, Cam Hayward is back to stop the run. So they're starting to get healthy at the right time. They have a history with a great head coach, starting to get a little bit better. Get Pickens involved last week. Deontay Johnson, 2-headed monster in the backfield. Check. I like Steelers this week.
Love it. All right. Speaking of quarterbacks and whether or not they matter in these games, Justin Fields, does that matter? Whether or not he is going to play for the Bears? I don't think so. Detroit.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. All right. That line's 9.5. We just saw it. So, Meaney, I know that you like this one. Detroit's going to cover. Hey, David Montgomery against his former team. Are we playing a prop when it comes to that?
I love revenge games.
Love it.
Me too. I think he finds the end zone, probably.
Yeah.
This Bears defense has been really good against the run. Now, part of it is they've been so awful against the pass, but we saw Gibbs and Montgomery both eat last week, and they both had 100 yards, and they combined for 3 touchdowns. This line, originally, when I saw it, was 9. Again, another late night. Drinking the Kool-Aid after watching the Bills game, I guess, putting in a couple of these bets. And then it moved to 10. And then when I looked this morning, it's back to 9. I would assume it's because it sounds like Justin Fields is going to play, but that doesn't matter to me. This Lions team certainly is legit. I don't want to bore anybody with the home and away splits, but because we've talked about it at length, but just, quickly with Jared Goff this season, the 72% completion rate at home, 65 on the road, 8.3 yards per attempt, 7.4 at home, the better number, 7.4 on the road, the better number at home at 8.3. And even last year, this dates back, he had 23 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions and averaged 275 yards per game at home compared to on the road, 6-4 and 245. This team at home this season, 3-1, averaging 29 points per game. I think that this is the best 1-2 punch on the ground as well. Mike, you talked about Warren and Najee, and they've done some good things, and I'd say they're probably number 2, but it's a big gap between both backfields here. And this defense in Chicago, from a fantasy standpoint, they're top 10 in basically everything. Points allowed to quarterbacks and tight ends and running backs, and then top 10 in yards allowed, top 10 in yards per attempt allowed, points allowed, completion percentage against quarterbacks. So I really like where Goff and this Detroit team is at the moment. Pick their defense up in fantasy, ride them down the stretch. A lot of these games the rest of the way for Detroit are at home or in a dome. The Lions have a legitimate chance here of getting the number 1 seed overall in the NFC. And I think that's a decent sprinkle as well, with the Eagles having a very tough stretch starting this week in Kansas City. So, and I think we just need to give some love to Goff. Since the start of last season, he's first in touchdown to interception ratio, Abby. Yep. He's 3rd in passing yards. He's 4th in passer rating. He's 6th in touchdowns. Like, he's actually been really good for quite some time now.
No, I was going to bring that up. When you go look at our models, it's no surprise that the projections for passing yardage, it's the most for Jared Goff this week. It's like 280 yards, which, I mean, I'm sure he's going to exceed that against how bad this Bears secondary is.
I think so too.
Whew, man, poor Bears. Poor Chicago.
Guys, really quick. Check out this schedule for the 7-2 Lions rest of the year. Home Chicago, at Green Bay, at New Orleans, at Chicago, home Denver, at Minnesota, then Dallas and Minnesota again. That's a very winnable schedule. Chris, you called it. Nice. 7-2. What do you give them at worst? 13-4, maybe? Yeah. Good schedule.
What can we get here for live odds to win the NFC? I mean, plus 550. That's pretty darn good. Take a look at the Eagles schedule.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Lots of money on the line there. Okay, cool. Well, as we continue on, Texans, we got to talk about them. What's going on? CJ Stroud poor Panthers, poor Carolina Panthers. They're like, we should have taken him. But no, thanks. It's great to see Houston. It's great to see their success. So they're riding high off this win over the Bengals. What are our thoughts on this game, Randall?
Yeah, Kyler Murray's back, and he had an incredible scramble for 15 yards, and now we think the Cardinals are good, and they're going to keep this game within 4 points against a Houston team that just went into Cincinnati and won. Get out of here.
4 points Houston, what do we not know here?
No, so Kyler Murray fixes everything. Does he fix their 31st ranked defense by DVOA, the Cardinals? Enough. This is a Texans team that is hot, that is playing well. Maybe they get Nico Collins back. Is Kyler Murray covering Tank Dell, who's open all over the place? We got Devin Singletary rushing for 130 yards, being a great running back now for the Texans. Their offensive line is healthy. Stroud doesn't turn the ball over. The Texans have a solid defense. You have to beat them deep. I don't think Kyler Murray's going to do that. Now we're worried about Trey McBride. That's really the focus of the offense. Enough of this. Houston laying the points at home against Kyler Murray. Take it easy with Kyler Murray. I'm not even sure it's going to be the quarterback there next year. Please, this line is too much.
Yeah, Texans are 5-2 against the spread. The Cardinals are 2-4-1. So that's a nice little number as well. Meaney, do you have any thoughts on the Texans?
I'm right there with Mike. I mean, we talked about CJ Stroud as a little bit of a sprinkle on Main Streets last week at 66-1 to win the MVP, and now he's 30-1. I don't think he's going to win the MVP, but I do believe that that number is going to continue to get shorter and shorter and shorter. I mean, the mainstream media told you last week to sprinkle on Joe Burrow at 9-1, and CJ Stroud went in to Joe Burrow's home and outplayed him.
Yeah, that was
a football game. And now you said it off the top of the show, like, yeah, they're in the playoff contention. If the season ended today, the Texans are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, they are a playoff squad. And think about it, a 3-win team last year who had 2 top 3 picks this year. DeMeco Ryans is a rookie head coach, has this team playing great defensively. all their issues last year that they had on the defensive side of the ball and stopping the run. They've been a much better run defense this year. Even without Nico Collins in Cincinnati, CJ Stroud was still, again, back-to-back weeks able to take his team with basically no time left on the clock on the road and win a football game with like Noah Brown and a rookie in Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz. Like, I like these weapons that he has, and Singletary with a career game too. So I'm totally with you. And this is part of why I've liked the Saints so much this year, is because I don't believe in the Falcons. That's fair. Arizona won that game last week. They played the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
So let's not overreact on a win from Arizona at home with Kyler back. They're still a very bad football team, like Mike said. I like the Texans as well.
Chris, what's going to kill me is I'm going to be right about the Saints. They're going to be 7-9, and they're still going to win the division. You're going to be right. It's going to
but they're going to lose. They're going to host a playoff game, being a mediocre 500 team, but they'll probably lose because the Cowboys will go in there or Seattle will go in there, and they'll win the football game.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right, we love a team like Houston that surprises us, a team that's disappointed us. What's going on with the Chargers? Their defense
it's not good.
Great. Not great. So Brandon Staley's on the hot seat. How important is this? This game's huge for the Chargers. Like, they have to win this game.
Yeah.
Meaning, are they gonna cover? What's gonna happen?
I know that you got some numbers to put me in my back seat here a little bit, but I am on the Chargers to win this football game by 3. Yeah. If you don't like that 3, maybe even drink a little bit of the juice at -130 over Bet365 and 2.5. Like, a field goal will get you there. I do think at the end of the day, they will win this game. You're spot on about the defense. It's not good at all. We've been picking on this defense all year long. They're among the leaders in yards per attempt allowed. There's still a bad rush defense. I think Bosa's looked a little bit healthy lately, which is a positive for the defense to get some pressure on the quarterback. I think he's racked up like 2.5 sacks over the last 3 games. But this is, again, to Jordan Love. And I know he did some better things last week. He made some nice throws, but I'm still not seeing much out of him. Like, a completion percentage, it's below 60 yards per attempt. It's hanging around 6.5. It's a defense that maybe he can take advantage of. Where's the run game here in Green Bay? I look at Aaron Jones. It's just, he's not doing anything. Sub 40 rushing yards in 3 of his last 4. It's only top 41 rushing yards once this season. I know he's missed some time, but he's only played 10 or 6 games. Still, that should be enough for him to get over 41 rushing yards. And I look at Love, 10 picks on the season. A majority of these interceptions have come over the last couple of games. So I'll sweat this one out. The Chargers are not going to be a playoff team. There's maybe Staley is looking for a new job. That's possible in the offseason, because this team should be better than what they are. The expectations are much higher than them being a 500 football team. But I'm going to take them. I think that they're going to win the football game by a field goal here.
All right, so the Chargers have not won at Lambeau since 1984. But then we found out it was only 3
wasn't even alive. Wasn't even alive then.
But that's okay. But we did, Randall, you found this fun number too, because we were joking about this before the show, because we all thought that was crazy. We started looking it up. Chargers are 1-7 against Green Bay, though, in either location. Now, obviously, Aaron Rodgers was a part of probably a decent chunk of that, but still, like, regardless. And no, but I think I am with you. I have the numbers, but I think there's a lot of like emotion that is surrounding this, the more of the intangibles surrounding this game for the Chargers, like the must-win type of situation. I think that's going to go into it because this needs to be a huge statement win for them. So, I think from a get it together in the locker room standpoint too, everyone's getting fires lit under their little booties to
Randall probably thinks this is a trap, and it probably is, and I'd like to get your thoughts as well. But like, whoever has the ball, like, I gotta go with the better quarterback here. If the Chargers have the ball last to move up the field, maybe win it, or on the flip side, if the Packers have the ball last, we saw it last week, Jordan Love and company, they can move up the field, but I just don't trust Jordan Love, Mike.
Inconsistency. Yeah, he's tied for second most in interceptions in the league too. So like, Randall?
To be honest, I can't believe I'm tempted to break the rule with all 3 games that we've talked about, teasing through the 0. I would be tempted to tease the Ravens getting 3 points. Yeah. I would be tempted in this game to have the Chargers getting 3 points, because I don't like the Chargers on the road, but it's going to be a close game. And yes, they could win, Chris, absolutely. So, and of course, my thoughts on the Texans. This is a frisky game. It's like bad sushi. It doesn't feel great, but in the end, maybe they get it to the window. It's a stay away from me, Chris, but the Chargers are going to charger, and if they lose this game, they may start dropping out of the playoff race, so probably they're going to find a way to win, but I just don't like it.
1984, Abby.
I know. Like, what was that? I wasn't even.
Sample size.
Am I the only one who was alive? I think I may be the only one who was alive of this group.
Yeah, right 85ers, so yeah, not quite for me, but
there.
84. That's we have to have some fun with that on Mean Streets. Things that were big in 84 the last time the Chargers won a football game at Lambeau.
we love numbers like that. All right, giddy up. We're talking Cowboys, y'all. Cowboys, Carolina. First of all, the poor Panthers. 1-8. I mean, do they get they've given up clearly, but you know, we're not, that's why we're not talking about the spread on this game. We're talking about the total. Randall, what are your thoughts on Dallas, Carolina?
Yeah, we're going under 42.5 right now, -110 on DraftKings. In the FTN model, I trust 11.7% edge, projected to 64.1% probability of winning. The double-digit edges on our FTN model this year for totals have been tremendous, hitting it over 70%. So I'm going with this one. It makes sense. You know the Panthers can't score with the Cowboys. Cowboys in a flat spot here. The offense has been fantastic. Carolina, this is a road game, sleepy spot for the Cowboys coming off the big win. It seems low, 42.5, but I am betting on the model. I'm betting on the Panthers not to run the score up. They're going to try to control the game. Patience going through. I think their defense has actually been better the last couple of weeks. I'll take the under of 42.5, and it feels to the public like this should be an easy play on the over the way the Dallas offense has been. But we know Tony Pollard isn't scoring, so that's no problem.
Okay, so that poses my next question then. Tony Pollard has not eclipsed 55 rushing yards since week 3. Now the Panthers have the 26th ranked rush defense. Like, are you going to play the over on Pollard this week? Is this the week that he finally, or what are our thoughts on that? I know the numbers aren't out yet.
I'm going to stay away. I just looked quickly, Mike, in the prop shop. There's nothing yet. I thought last week would be the week. I had a little bit of a sprinkle in a 2-touchdown game. He had all the goal line work again. Well, most of it to start the game, but he's 3 for 13, I believe, inside the 5. He struggled last year inside the 5, 3 for 9. It is a spot. It makes a lot of sense. A team that's favored by 10.5 points. Defense is fantastic. Carolina can't move the ball. They don't throw the ball past 10 yards. They have no run game. You would think, Mike, this was a classic spot for a running back to get right, to lean on him, give him some confidence. But I just think that there's more issues besides Pollard, this offensive line. This hasn't been a good rushing offense. According to DVOA, they're one of the worst offensive rush teams in the entire league.
Only way, Abby, I take it is what I did a couple weeks ago on the show here, rushing and receiving yards. And we got lucky because Pollard caught that little screen over the middle, spun, and then went right down the field and got it. So I'd have to combine it. I do not trust his rushing. And are we really going to see Rico Dowdell get more carries? Maybe we are at this point.
Can you give me a score prediction? Both of you guys. What's the score prediction for this Carolina?
I don't know, because I would have not thought the under, honestly. Like, I'm thinking, Cowboys are going to run it up. But, I mean, is Carolina even going to score? Like, is there going to be a shutout? Like, this is how bad the Panthers are.
Model has it at 22-15. So why don't we say, guys, it's 21-7, and then they put in a garbage time touchdown, something like that. That's what I'll go with. So
you don't like this?
I like it.
The model doesn't like this.
Well, it's just hard to get the laying the points and the under, but it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, I see I'm more with Abby, like a
shutout,
28-7 game or a 30-7 game. There's always the threat of a backdoor cover, but what I've seen from Carolina this year is they cannot run the football. No. And they don't have any plays right now in their playbook that has Bryce Young throwing the football down the field. There's no separation from any of their wide receivers apart from Adam Thielen, and he's cooled off lately. If you're Dallas, you're saying, throw to anybody else. We are doubling. We are bracketing Adam Thielen. You want to throw to Mingo? Go for it. You want to take a deep shot down the field with Terrace Marshall, who've done nothing all year? Go ahead. Hayden Hurst, hardly any targets outside of 5 yards down the field. So I think that they're going to struggle. I love the call by Randall the under. But the Dak Prescott offense right now, I think is good enough to maybe get to 24, 28 points in this game. The defense limit them to sub 10. We could get there.
Yeah, 5 wins of 20 plus points for Dallas, and then there's I think a couple 30-plusers in there too. I can't believe
Oh, for
49
sure.
points on my Giants. Come on, I'm over the
You might want to trade them in, Abby.
I'm over
What do you
the
think about this? What do you think about trading them in for
Okay,
the Jets?
let's dive in. Let's dive in.
What are we doing here? Are we interested?
I'm interested.
Any interest, Mike, in the Jets +7?
Well, here's the thing, guys. I put this out on X. I had a wager back in May, +120, Bills under 10.5 wins,
Oh, you're
just for exactly what's going on. So if at this point, if I end up getting,
after you,
gosh, what do I need? I need
what a bet.
2 losses. So I love this one. It is tough for me to say they're going to get swept by the Jets. It is, especially with Zach Wilson. But am I touching this line? No way, Chris. What I'm saying is it's Jets or nothing for me is what would be my comment.
And look at the schedule. Like, oh, sorry to cut you off there, Abby.
No, I was just going to say Buffalo hasn't
Eagles.
covered in its last 6. Go ahead.
No, they haven't. And we've been picking on them a lot on this show. A lot. It goes all the way back. For me, it goes all the way back to the loss in week 5 against Jacksonville. Then they played the Giants and won by 5, but almost lost out in the final play of the game. New England, they did lose in the final play of the game. Tampa, they almost lost in the final play of the game. Cincinnati, they lost. Denver, I mean, I've never seen a team that more deserving of a loss, and they still almost won, but they had 12 guys in the field. Like, they turned the ball over all over the place. And then, so, Mike, I think you're going to get that because the Jets, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Chargers, the Pats, and then they wrap up with the Dolphins. Like, that is an amazing bet by you.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, I think that the Bills will win this game, but I am not laying 7 with Buffalo in a pool where you have to pick your own picks. I really highly recommend picking the Jets here. They've been good against Allen recently. They've been good against good offenses and good quarterbacks. Like, they beat the Eagles. They almost beat the Chiefs. And here's Josh Allen's last 3 games against the Jets. He's got 2 touchdowns and 5 picks. He's been sacked 13 times. His last 4 games against the Jets, his passing yards per attempt, 5.8, 5.4, 6, and 5.3. This is a guy that lives in the 8s. His passing yards, 236, 147, 205, 239. So he's been sub 240 for 4 straight games. And his completion percentage, although it was 70% at the start of the season, it was the turnovers that got him into trouble. The games before that, 59%, 52%, 53%. The Jets have a history of making Josh Allen look a little silly. And at the moment, Mike, he looks a little silly anyways. He's been careless with the football, leads in interceptions and total turnovers. So I am going to lean with the Jets to keep this tight.
Okay, you ready for this one too? No quarterback has more turnovers than Josh Allen since 2018.
Wow.
2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, like 2022.
Guys,
years.
Guys, I just don't like the chemistry issues here. Stephon Diggs' brother, Trevon Diggs, is saying, Josh Allen wasn't good till he got there. Let's pipe down a little bit about Stephon Diggs. He was the second receiver to Adam Thielen out in Minnesota. And besides the catch he had against the Saints where he throws the ball in the air, let's take it easy with Stephon Diggs, who had questions whether he had injury concerns. So, the relationship between Allen and Diggs, they're tethered to each other. The idea like this is just, it's Stephon Diggs. He needs a better quarterback. I hate these diva wide receivers. So they're going all over the place. You were out there in Minnesota. You were good, but not great. You became great with Josh Allen. Both of them are struggling. It's not just Josh Allen. He hasn't been good either.
Preach. I love it. Hey, one more before we go, because it's like the biggest game. Monday Night Football, baby. Your Eagles. Are they going to beat?
I'm nervous.
KC? Are they going to? I got
nothing to say.
In KC?
History would say no because Andy Reid off of a bye has just been basically automatic his entire career. I know both teams are coming off of a bye at Arrowhead. I don't know.
I'm taking a money line dogs. Give me Philly. Let's go.
You're taking
That's
Philly?
My money line dog.
Let's go. I love it.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Mike,
what the Kelseys, Jason versus Travis. I've got my money on Jason. Guys, he was one of the sexiest mans alive recently. Listen,
yeah, he's all over the place these days.
Come on, he's way more popular than Travis right now. We're going Jason in the Eagles.
I put this out, guys, as my money line underdog play of the week. Again, 2 for 2 last week. As a home favorite up to a touchdown, Patrick Mahomes 6-10 against the spread, including an astounding 2-8 in his last 10 games. This is not a spot for him. Eagles get revenge. Better balanced team. Still don't have a wide receiver. It should be Rashee Rice, but they're not using him that way. Travis Kelce traveling the world here with Taylor Swift. I will take the Eagles as a money line.
Let's go. Yes.
All right. Yes.
Money line dogs in Philly.
Yeah, Travis was having some fun in Argentina, and Taylor Swift's changing up lyrics, mentioning Travis as well. So maybe he's feeling himself a little bit too much. This should be a really good game. Monday Night Football should be an awesome one. I'd be hesitant. I'm just thinking it'd be like the Super Bowl and a lot of points in the over. I think the Eagles' best way to go into Kansas City and win the football is their true identity is to run the football, extend drives, have those 13, 14, 15 play drives that kills like 7 or 8 minutes off the clock. But I agree with Randall. Last year I said this a lot. Somebody needs to step up outside of Travis Kelce. It's the same thing again. Somebody needs to step up outside of Travis Kelce. And I'm just not sure who that is. I would like to say it's Rashee Rice. He's a guy that I will be diving in on his props again. It'll probably be around 50. I'll take the over on that one. But somebody else needs to step up offensively to just take the load off Kelce because teams are taking him away lately.
And Chiefs guys, 19th in run offense DVOA. It's not like they're running the ball well either. Besides Isaiah Pacheco stomping his feet into the ground here in the Meadowlands against the Jets, they have not run it well either. So they're not running it well. They're struggling with wide receivers. Eagles are better balanced. Mahomes not great against the spread. Kelce singing over in a random country. Enough.
Talk to me.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show. Any final thoughts before we head out?
We need a survivor play. I'm still going. I risked it last week. I knew that the Bengals were a trap. I avoided that one.
Yeah.
And I went with Pittsburgh, and I had to sweat that out. So for me personally, I'm taking Dallas. But I don't know if Dallas is still available to a lot of people. I'd say the Dolphins are out on people. Detroit. Mike, would you go Washington? Did the Commanders beat the Giants here as 10-point favorites? Like, I'm assuming nobody has picked the Commanders here, Week 11 Survivor.
I'd much rather Chris go Houston. I would take the Commanders, but rivalry games are weird. But if it's still Tommy DeVito, I forget it. That's where I'd go.
Houston's probably a better call.
Oh, man. I can't with the Giants. Poor things. All right, guys.
Trade him in.
Love
for
it.
the Jets.
Okay, we'll do this again next week, shall we? Hopefully a lot more excitement and drama.
And the Saints are off a bye. This will be great.
There we go.
Yeah. And maybe we try schedule depending. Maybe we try a little bit earlier with American Thanksgiving. We can hit on the Thursday games and then we can get into the weekend. But most likely subscribe for free to our YouTube channel and you'll get notified when we go live here.
Love it. All right, guys. We'll have fun this weekend. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. As always, for Mike Randall, Chris Meaney, Abby Labar, this is your weekly NFL betting show on FTN Network.